Yay. Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the Allies. Arrowhead Allies. Welcome into Arrowhead Allies, everybody. Sorry, this is not your Royals post-game show. You'll have to go somewhere else for that. We are talking Kansas City Chiefs and New Orleans Saints as we head into Monday Night Football against a hot Saints football team, the number one scoring offense in the NFL. We have a very special guest to break that down. Former New Orleans Saint, former Kansas City Chief, Hall of Famer, your left tackle and mine, Willie Roaf. Welcome to the show.
Willie, what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me again, man.
We love it, dude. The greatest Chief/Saint of all time. But you know what? Tyrann Mathieu is making a case for that right now, as is Willie Gay, who actually got hurt in the last game. But the Chiefs and Saints, a lot of players kind of crossing bounds there, Willie. And I mean, we just got to know off the top, who are you going to be cheering for on Monday Night Football? We just got to get this out of the way.
I'll be neutral. You see, I have on blue today. I don't have on red or black or gold today.
I love it.
I'll be neutral. Another guy I played with when Mike McCarthy took over, when Randy Mueller hired Jim Haslett, we got Ron Zook from the Chiefs, and we got McCarthy from Green Bay. We got coaches from different teams, and we would get guys from different teams the coaches suggested, and we got Joe Horn. And we got Joe from Kansas City, and he ended up having 4 Pro Bowls with the Saints. And then we got Aaron Brooks, because McCarthy had been in Green Bay. We got some guys from San Diego. So it's like Haslett came in and said, look, guys, who is available on these teams that we can get? And he kind of picked the players from the coaches that told him who was good on other teams.
Absolutely. And Willie, I got to share this picture you sent with me that you were at the game. You were at the Chiefs-Falcons game. So I've got to ask this two-part question here. What did you see from the Chiefs being there in person? And did you enjoy the free hot dogs, chips, and Coca-Cola that they had for you?
Yeah, I was like, why are they giving away these hot dogs? I had the hot dog. I had a couple of the hot dogs and the chips. They kept, I saw people kept getting them. So I did enjoy that. My wife was like, normally at these games, everything costs an arm and a leg, and they were giving it away. But no, it was a good atmosphere. They had a little mini concert. They had T.I. perform. Then they had Little John. They kept it mic'd up in there. They try to keep it loud, especially when the visiting team's on. I will say this. The Chiefs play these games, and it's topsy-turvy sometimes, but they're so resilient. I heard Kornheiser say a stat on ESPN. Of teams that are down 10 points, Mahomes, He's the only quarterback that's been down 10 points at a certain time, or fourth quarter, whatever, with a winning record. It's not even close. He's like 13-12 or whatever it is, down 10 points. And it's bend but don't break. I feel sorry for that kid Rice. He was the best receiver this year. They got to make up for him. I expect the line play to get better. I know they had the rookie was struggling some, and they put 64 in there. Yeah. And it's I'm glad Kareem Hunt's back because we need some running game. That would help everything. And Kelsey is finally got going last week. So it's bend but don't break, but you still have that defense. You still have the best defensive tackle in football. You still have arguably the best defensive coordinator, one of them in football, that's calling that defense.
Willie, let's get right to it. We had you on just before training camp began, and we talked about the Chiefs' second-round draft pick out of BYU, Kingsley Suamataia. I think it's how you pronounce his name. He had the starting position through OTA's training camp, and it came down to the second preseason or the second regular season game with 5 minutes left in the Bengals game. Andy Reid benched Kingsley and brought Wanya, number 64, Wanya Morris, back into play. And since that game, since the fourth quarter of week 2, Wanya Morris has been the left tackle. As I touched on before when we had you on in July, Andy Reid never started a rookie left tackle before last season when he thrust Wanya Morris in there when Donovan Smith went out. If you're going to give any advice now to Kingsley, because he had the job in training camp, in preseason, in the first 2 regular season games, he loses it in the fourth quarter of week 2. What advice do you give to him now? Because now Wanya's got the position. What advice would you give to him?
Keep working on his technique, his fundamentals. When he gets his opportunity, be ready to play. My system in college was a pro set. We flipped the whole game. So what was crazy about me, I look back on it now, when I was in college, we would flip the whole formation. So there was not a left tackle. We were one of the only teams to do that. So I played left and right throughout my whole college career. But when I came into the league and I was very, very high touted, they started me at right my rookie year. Jonathan Ogden started at left guard his rookie year. I think Walt started at left. I think Pace started at left. Maybe Baselli. But a lot of guys, it's hard to start off at left tackle. He went against a real good football player who once he got in his head and got in his tricks, the kid was with the Saints Hendrickson. He was getting after him some. So it's a learning curve. And look, when I got to Kansas City, John Tate, they were on John Tate, and he was getting beat some, and he was on the sideline, and they was getting to him a little bit. When I came in and I moved to left and we moved John to right, John had some real good years at right. And when he got to Chicago, he went back to left. Sometimes you have to get that confidence built. And, I just say just be ready. And he's going to have a long football career. But he's got to see what happens. Guys get injured, so – who knows? Somebody might have to move inside, but I don't know how long the kid 64 has been in the league. Donovan Smith is still not signed. I thought he was playing pretty well last year,
Yeah.
And he's still not signed. So, like I said, I would just tell a young kid to keep working hard, be ready to play. You still have a long career, and that's the hardest position to play, left tackle. In the league. On the line. That's the creme de la creme over there.
Willie, and keeping it with the offensive line and the tackle position, the right tackle, Juwan Taylor, has sort of been a target, if you will, some of it self-imposed, certainly, for his propensity to false start or to hold. He was on pace, actually, last year to set an NFL record for penalties in a season. Luckily, he did not eclipse that mark. But this year, he's making a run at it again, it seems, here in the first 4 weeks of the season, Willie. So when you have a situation where you're notorious and the refs are definitely looking at you when you're kind of getting into your stance, getting out of your stance, so to speak, early in the snaps, creating false starts, how hard is it to sort of reinvigorate your game and to try to accommodate what the officials are looking for and to make sure that you're not doing that? Because when you're setting your offense that's already struggling behind the chains, it is a hard hole to get out of, especially with the Chiefs missing a lot of weapons here.
He's got to focus on getting a little closer. Like you said, he likes to kick out real quick, get a quick kick out on guys. It's a tough spot. You gotta obey the rules. If I was getting some penalties like that, some stretches, I would have to think about it and maybe go out purposely and say, look, I'm not trying to get any penalties this week. You know, that's my main focus, especially if I have a game where I have a couple penalties, then that's really going to piss me off. And you really have to focus in, not staying in your stance, concentrating on hearing when the ball is snapped. And it's a mental thing. You have to really focus in on it. And in practice, you have to make sure you do it in practice. So practice those habits in practice, making sure you're not getting out early, making sure he's mixing up the count. You maybe go tell, look, mix up the count. I need to work on this week. So all this stuff you work on every week. You know, if I have a false start or a false step, you know, with my stance, you work on it everything the next week in practice. So you have to be disciplined in practice, and then it'll carry over into the game. So he's had an issue with it. He has been playing pretty solid, you know, as a football player, but we got to cut down on the penalties. I was at the game Jacksonville last year when he got benched. Remember when he had those penalties when they went back to Jacksonville, week 1, it was hot out there, but he had a bunch of penalties that game and got pulled out the game. Now, obviously, they put him back in because he's a vet. He's been in the league for some years, so, you know, he's not a rookie. So, but it's, you know, looking back on it, you know, I got penalized a little more in my career than Walter or Ogden. Some of that's biased to me as well. You know, you can call holding or some of those penalties any game, just like when the Chiefs played the first game and they kept calling those penalties on the other team, saying they were lined up in the backfield. But, you know, Will never got a lot of penalties. You know, you're inside a guard, you know, other than holding. You know, you're right beside the center. The tackle, you, especially when it's loud or you're on the road, you got to kind of look on the third down. You have to kind of look straight ahead and look at the center and kick out to this guy that's coming at you. You can't hold hands. So it's you know, when it's loud, it's tough out there, man.
Absolutely. And a quick fan question here, Willie, from Steve Harold. Willie, are you still friends with Will Shields and the other offensive linemen of the time?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
like Brian
Waters,
Casey.
Obviously, Casey was the leader. You know, Casey, you know, I was telling somebody a story. You know, I came in the weight room my first year in Kansas City, and on Wednesday we worked out, right? So I got there about 7:30, whatever, and you know, we met later. But Casey said, Willie, you know, we get here about 7 in the morning on Wednesday. I said, what? He said, we watch film together at 7 in the morning, and then we work out together at 7, then we go watch film before the team meeting on Wednesday. I said, okay. So, you know, Casey let me know, and that's how we did things. Will and I go way back. Will and I go back to our college days. You know, Will's part of the Legends group in the NFL, very well respected, Walter Payton Man of the Year. So Will checks on guys a lot, and I see him in Canton every year. I see Casey when I go back to Kansas City sometime at Alumni Weekend, and I will be back again this year with Ali Tama going in the Ring of Honor. So looking forward to him going in, and you got some other guys, Derek Johnson and Jamal Charles and those guys waiting. But yeah, man, I try to keep up with the guys, and I just reached out to a guy I played with. My wife found his number, Richard Cooper, a big tackle in New Orleans, who was at left, and when I was there, right, and I hit him, and I tried to call him, but I haven't heard back from him. But and I also reach out and check on these Hall of Famers that are getting older and call them and check on them. You know, we lost Pete Rose, who I signed with a lot. He was always signing. He was signing right before he died. And we lost Mutombo. We lost two great
John Amos today. Yeah.
Who else?
Great actor John Amos.
John, yeah. So yeah, man, we lost some great ones, but yeah, man, you got to check on the guys, and we check on each other and make sure we're doing good, man, in 2024.
Absolutely. And we get ready for this Monday Night Football game. It's going to be on October 7th here in 2024. You go back, you played on a Monday night game around the similar time of the year, October 4th, 2004, and you made Ray Lewis kind of lose his mind on the sideline. I got a video here to watch this. He couldn't believe two guys could block him on every single play, and you're in this, Willie, and it's enjoyable. So let's have some fun.
Ray Lewis mic'd up again.
I could be making a play. Coach, I'm talking about every play. I got 2 men on me. Every single play. Coach, there's no way I can be getting double every play. It's just not possible. It's not possible. What? Look at the papers. It's not possible.
that was Tony Richardson. I would say this. That was Tony Richardson and Brian Waters more than me getting the Ray. But that was a lot of fun that game because you got to understand, 04, we had come off the season in 03. We had been struggling.
Yeah.
We were pissed off because we were struggling. We had a veteran team. And it's funny. You know how all these guys get all dressed up and stuff now? And my sister, people say, well, y'all came to the hotel. Y'all had on holy shirts, the linemen, and we're all, look, man, we're coming there to play football. We're not coming there. We're coming there to go to work. So, we were a little, and I guess who sat in front of me at that game in Atlanta last week?
Who?
Patrick Kearney.
Wow.
Who I blocked against. He said,
Yeah.
yeah, we came to Atlanta in 04. Y'all were like 1-4, and they were 5-1 with the number 1 rush offense. And he said, I said, look, man, we got off to a tough start that year, but we still had a good offensive line. And we hit 8 rushing touchdowns on them, and that's who I was blocking. He said when they went in at halftime, he said Jim Moore Jr. said, y'all are done for the day. He set them down for the rest of the game because they were getting it was over. So, he sat right, he's a good guy. He sat right in front of me. He said, man, we came to Arrowhead and y'all got, we ran them out of there real quick that day. So yeah, it was a tough day for them. But like I said, we were a little pissed off. We hadn't been playing well, and they were getting on us a little bit, and we had to pick it up that year.
Yeah, we had for that Falcons game, we had on Todd McClure, the longtime great center for the Falcons, who was on that team in 2004 that you guys ran out of the building. And he said, just kind of what you said, he never had a coach come in at halftime and be like, this is over, guys. Let's just try to get through this healthy. So.
Yeah. Let's get ready. Let's live to fight another day.
Yeah. Hey, Willie, specifically back to the Chiefs left tackle situation, you just mentioned that Donovan Smith played some good ball last year. He missed 4-5 games with an injury, but he did come back for the playoffs in the Super Bowl. Yep. When you see the Chiefs' end result, as they want to be the first team in NFL history to three-peat, in your eyes, is it risky for the Chiefs to be playing with a second-year, third-round draft pick at left tackle in Wanya Morris and a rookie battling out for that left tackle position? Do you feel like it's risky in your eyes? Would you bring back Donovan Smith right now, or would you continue to let these rookies battle it out? How do you feel?
I see how they play, and if you still got a question, man, Mark, I check on Donovan Smith. He still was a good player. He had some good years in Tampa. He came back, played. He was wasn't he in Kansas City for 2 years?
No, 1 year. He played.
Just the 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why nobody signed him unless it's some injuries or whatever. I'm looking forward to, what happened same thing in New Orleans with Chad Penning was struggling, and then they drafted that kid over there. And Chad Penning, the Saints like to get physical. They have Gary Kubiak's son as a coordinator who his dad. I saw his dad in Canton this year. I saw him several times, but they play tough. They play physical. They're going to come in. What they did in Dallas. So it's going to be a great test. That Penny's going, they're going to move Chris Jones out there. So he's going to have his hands full. But that kid Penny likes to get physical with guys. The Philly game, he blocked the guy out of bounds. So it's going to be a tough game. I know the Saints lost McCoy for a while, so they're still without their center. But they're going to come in there and play hard. On the flip side of that, the Saints are going to come in there in the defensive line. And Matthew, like you said, Teron's coming back. Is Willie playing this week? He's coming back, so it's gonna be a good test, especially with all the injuries to the Chiefs have at the receiver position, and the Saints have a real good secondary.
They do.
Willie, I want to take it back to your time here in Kansas City and something we've never really talked to you about before, which is kind of the injuries and the health that you were dealing with at that time. There would always be, I remember, newspaper articles and people on the radio talking about, oh, we saw Willie in practice. He couldn't really walk. We saw him in the, he was like he was limping. He couldn't get out. He was struggling. But then he gets on the field and he just starts destroying people. It's like the camera comes on and Willie Roaf, any ailment that he has is gone. And what was that? Was it a mentality? Was it just something you as a veteran knew that you could overcome that pain and those injuries? What was it about you that you're able to like flip a switch when you'd been dealing with ailments all through the week?
Well, I would say this. I walk with a limp anyway. So when I first got drafted, more thought I was hurt before I took off running. So I will say that. But no, I did a good job of taking care of my body. I got my massages every week. I went to the chiropractor every week. During the week, doing practice, I'm trying to get my cardio in, but I'm trying to conserve my energy. You want to make sure you're getting your cardio in, you're staying in shape. But it mattered. Like I said, some weeks would be a little sore than others. I was fortunate enough to be able to play all those games and never miss a game for those first 3 years there. Just like what Kelsey's got to understand, he's 34 years old. I think that was about the time that 2004 season is when I really, really started to feel it. And I came back and got hurt in 05. I was 35 in 05. And that's the year I hurt the hamstring in the back and so on. So I think getting hurt in New Orleans that 9th year, not finishing that year off, having the ACL surgery, coming back in 02, not having to do the tour days, helped my body and gave me some time off mentally and physically. And then I was able to come out there with that line and put together that 3-year stretch and not miss a game. So I was just very blessed and fortunate to be able to come out and play at that level. And I would have come back one more year, guys. I really would have. But I was just I was worried my body wasn't going to hold up and my hamstring was still bothering me some. But if I would I heard Shannon say this. When I played, we worked so hard at training camp. After the season, you had to take a couple months off. So what happens is let's say you're getting the Toradol shots. I didn't want to take the anti-inflammatories all week. You're doing the massages, you're doing the chiropractor, you're in the training room. Well, as soon as that season over, you go wherever you're going home. If you don't stay around that town and you're not at that facility, then you cut all that cold turkey. So then you're resting your body basically for a couple of months. You don't want to, maybe you're doing a little cardio, but you're resting your body. So then after 2 or 3 months, you're just asking your body, let's go back, let's pick it back up again. And it gets harder and harder every year. So like I said, Kelsey did a lot of traveling this offseason and moving around. Before that last year, like I said, when I went home, I would make sure I was resting a couple months. But around May or June, you got to start working out, really gearing up for that season again. So, it gets harder the older you get, man. It does. And like I said, Will lived in Kansas City and would always stay there and be there in there working out, training. And that probably would have been a better process for me if I had stayed there, especially that last year or two, and stayed in there, and you have to train that body all the time. But I was taking time off to rest, go to California, and I came back that offseason, and Will was in there running and doing the offseason program. Well, I wasn't doing that my last year. I was resting, and, that's what happened going into the 05 season.
Yeah, Willie, we were kind of texting back and forth talking about your Pine Bluff boys. You're from Pine
baby.
Bluff, Arkansas, and
Mizzou.
Mizzou's got 3 of them right there. Courtney Crutchfield, Austin Dendy, Jordan Harris. So just how proud are you to see all these Pine Bluff boys playing?
I am, and then they have a kid from Little Rock Mills that's going up there that was at Pine Bluff that went to Little Rock Mills, so we played against it. That's going up there. And I heard these kids are playing some up there. They're doing a good job. And Arkansas let out some good players. All those guys went to my high school. They had 2 real good football teams back-to-back years, and Mizzou stole those guys from the Razorbacks, and they got a better program. And
Yeah.
I think they're giving a little more better NIL deal. And
That's right.
Yeah. So, I'm
Flint and
proud
I are
of
pitching in a little bit. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our part.
I'm proud of
got
those guys, man. So they're doing good.
we got a fan question here from Todd Clark. Who was the best defensive lineman you ever faced in your career?
Whew. It's a few of them, man. I mean, I had the honor of playing Derek. I'll tell y'all a little story. I wanted to 30 years ago. So Neil was from New Orleans, McDonald 35. Neil's mom lived around the corner from me, so I see Neil in the offseason. So it's 94, might be about the 4th, 5th game of the season, my second year. And I played my whole year right. I didn't miss a down. So Neil called, when Neil calls me and he says, "Hey, Willie." I said, "What's up?" He said, DT said, "Don't try to make the Pro Bowl off of him this game." I said, "Neil, man, tell Derek, hey, I'm going out here to play him. I'm not going out here to let him beat me." So I had a good game against DT. Neil had a couple sacks, a strip sack, and they ended up winning that game. The next week we played Ken Hart. We played the Redskins. Well, they got a guy named Ken Harvey. I said, "I ain't never heard of this guy." Well, he hit the quarterback about 4 or 5 times, didn't say a word to me. So, but that's my DT story. DT said, "Don't try to make the Pro Bowl." I did make the Pro Bowl that year, DT, and I made all pro. But me and Derek had some good battles. Reggie White. I had Kevin Green. I mean, I can tell you, Sean Jones. I mean, I played all them guys, man.
Did you ever go up against Mongo, Steve McMichael?
No, Mongo was inside. Mongo's last year was when I came. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was his last year in the league. It was your rookie year, I think.
And we played the Giants, but I was at right my rookie year. I played straight hand, and LT was at left. I didn't get to play LT either. So
and Reggie White was famous for his hump move, lifting offensive linemen up off the ground.
He humped me. He humped me, but he didn't get me down, but he humped me. He humped me. So Reggie didn't run any ETs. Reggie didn't run twists. They were moving him up and down the line. He didn't run ETs. Kind of like how Chris does. So they move him around. But he humped me one time. I held him on. But I held him on against Reggie my rookie year. He gave me a lot of praise after that game.
Love it.
Yeah.
Willie, the scoring's down in the NFL, and we're seeing the return of the running game for the first 4 weeks of the season. Do you look and see these tackles that are playing now, and they're forced to play a style of offense that they didn't really, a lot of left tackles that they didn't see in college? Are you seeing these young tackles play solid running style blocking for the left tackles now that they're forced into doing it consistently?
Well, I would like to see them running the ball more and doing it more, yeah. And the scoring's down because of the kickoffs. I mean, you got to kick it off, and guys got, they're not coming out of the end zone a lot. So they're starting backed up. They're not having the big returns like they used to. So not as much. So I don't know how they're going to fix that. But, yeah, the scoring's down. I think it just takes offense a while to get going because they're not playing in the preseason. So it takes teams a little while longer because you're still gelling the first few weeks of the season, getting your offense. It's easy for the defense to get it going, but it takes offense a while to get guys to get going. And then when you have all these injuries, then that makes it even harder. So if you can the healthier a team can stay, especially early on and throughout the season, the better. Because as the season goes, they're going to play better. But with all the injuries and stuff, it's hard to get that consistency with guys because of all the injuries and stuff going on. You gotta stay healthy, and like I said, training camp's not that long, so they don't even put on the pads that much. So it just takes a while for the offense to get going, unless you're dealing with a veteran team.
Are you upset about the way that they don't have pads and they don't run the Oklahoma drill? Does that chap you a little bit? Like, golly, you guys don't have to work nearly as hard as me.
I think if some of us could do the training camps they did, but you'd have to stay and come in shape. How long would we have been able to play with the way way we put on pads and stuff, especially with Vermeil those last 4 years? I think how long would we been able to play? Because it was all the practicing and stuff that wore us out. You know, our bodies out. By the time we got to the season, it took a few weeks for your body to get to feeling good. You know, so yeah, it was a different league back then. But I mean, you got to keep these guys healthy, though. I mean, I don't want to pay a guy $20-30 million and he's not on the field. So
Right.
that's the flip side of that. But no, I look forward to the battle. Chris Jones and those guys are playing good again. That defense is playing good again, and you know, I just want to see the Chiefs play better. I mean, you know, Mahomes and those guys, he can make up for a lot of stuff, but you know, you gotta have healthy bodies out there, man, playing for you. So the more help he's got, the better. And Kareem will be he'll be getting better every week, getting in football shape because he was at home as well.
Well, Willie, we can't thank you enough for spending the time with us today. Again, it's been a few months where we love having you on. Before we let you go, get a hitch with our quick three quick questions, one from each of us. We'll have some fun with it. Mine is, you're kind of from the South, but you lived here in Kansas City. I know you're a food guy. So Kansas City barbecue versus New Orleans, like Creole Cajun food. What dish are you going with if you can only pick one?
It would be Gates Barbecue or probably some Oysters Rockefeller in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
That would be probably one.
Okay.
All right, mine for you, Willie, is you got a big bowl of popcorn. You're sitting down. It's a Saturday night. Your favorite sports movie you're putting on, and then your favorite movie that has nothing to do with sports, a non-sports movie you're putting on.
That's a good question. Favorite sports movie. Might be 42.
Yeah.
What's the one with the run? Yeah.
Yeah, classic.
And non-sports movie. That's a good one there. I'm trying to think. It would be some type of actually mystery suspense drama movie. It would be some from that genre, some mystery suspense.
Yeah.
And mine, Willie, is if you were ever tackle eligible on 1 yard TD pass, what is your TD dance? You caught the touchdown. You're tight end eligible. What is your TD dance, Willie?
Young Willie?
Yeah,
I might try to throw it through the goalpost like Tony Gonzalez. Willie, I'm giving it to somebody else and I'm running to the sideline and sitting down.
I love it. Willie.
That is perfect, Willie.
Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it. We've had so many people in the chat that say, Willie, you're the greatest left tackle of all time. We appreciate everybody asking questions to Willie today, man. Hope for a great game. Monday Night Football. Willie, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for holding down the fort with us there in Atlanta, representing our Kansas City Chiefs there, and we'll see how Monday night goes. You are the best, my friend. Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. Y'all have a great week.
You're the best. Thank you.
Always an honor. You're welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you.
I love that man, Willie Roaf, who famously, I always remember that game he missed in 2003 against the Bengals after the Chiefs started 9-0. The Chiefs are on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Willie misses the game with a bad case of the gout, which I didn't think was real, except for in the song Lunch Lady Land by Adam Sandler. It did exist. Willie missed that game with the gout. The Chiefs lost to the Bengals, breaking the 9-0 start to the 0-3 season, but one of the greatest. We look back at that, an era, a bygone era, really, when that era of left tackle, and Shane, you kind of alluded to it, and it's a different game now. Offenses are different. The game's played a little different, but man, to look back at that and have Willie join us, it just brings it all together. This Chiefs-Saints game here Monday night is huge. The Chiefs are 4-0. There's some adversity, and we're going to see if the Chiefs can be screaming for vengeance after people are starting to write them off and head into the next quarter of the season after this 4-0 start to solidify themselves as the best team in the AFC, because Kay Adams wants to give it to a different team each week, Noah. It's the Miami Dolphins after week 1. Well, they beat the Jaguars. They're the team going to the Super Bowl. Well, it's the Buffalo Bills, right? They started 3-0. They put up points. They're lighting up the scoreboard. They're the team. It's the Bills, right? Noah, what do we make of this? Kay Adams is going to have to go somewhere else after next week when the Bengals beat the Ravens. We're going to have to find a new sexy team for Kay Adams. And if she wants to talk about it, I'm home. I'll give her my address. I'll put it up on the screen right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'll be as fervent with your anger as you are right here when she shows up at your door wearing nothing but a silk nightgown. But yes, she did choose the Ravens last time. That's her latest team. She thinks the Ravens are the team to beat, even though the Chiefs beat them, the Raiders beat them. But are the Chiefs going to be able to beat the Saints without their star receiver, Rashee Rice? We are getting some good news out there that possibly this isn't as bad as maybe we think with Adam Schefter. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he basically says it's a bad knee injury, but they're hoping that it's not as bad as they feared. He's still going through some testing, and maybe it's not quite a torn ACL. So people are speculating maybe we'll hear something on Monday, which is the day of the game. So that I don't know if the Chiefs will want to put that out there unless it's good news. And then, hey, let's get some good vibes going into this Monday night game. But Shane, what do you make of that? What do you think the Chiefs are going to do moving forward? We saw them get Sky Moore out there. He dropped a pass. Out there, which I didn't notice. Clint noticed him out there, but apparently he got some snaps when Sky Moore dropped the ball.
I want to answer that question in totality. Let's go back to the interception. It was a bad pass by Patrick Mahomes. He tried to touch pass to Kelsey. It was overthrown. The defensive back is running it down the sidelines into a cluster of defensive linemen, offensive linemen. Patrick Mahomes needs to stay out of the way. Peyton Manning, his last 4 years in the NFL, when a defender's rumbling, bumbling down the field, he got out of the way. Granted, Peyton Manning had a neck issue, but still, nobody would fault Peyton Manning for getting out of the way. If Patrick Mahomes got out of the way, nobody would fault him. Patrick Mahomes had no business, none, from diving headfirst into that pile. We have all seen that replay 1,000 times. I mean, we're talking about Rashee Rice's injury. I want to talk about what Patrick Mahomes did. He dove in, turned around, and hit Rashee Rice with his right collarbone. That could have wrecked Patrick Mahomes' collarbone. It could have wrecked his not only season, but his concussion. Yes, that could have wrecked his career. So it was a disaster of epic proportions. Patrick Mahomes cannot. I mean, I wish we had Todd Haley as a coach just to yell at people. We need a coach just to yell at people for doing stuff. So Todd Haley could just say, like he did Brody Croyle, hey, what are you doing? Get out of the way. You do not need to freaking throw your body at anybody running down the field. Granted, he didn't hurt himself. He could have. But instead, he freaking ran into Rashee Rice. We don't know what's going to happen with his knee. It doesn't look good. You know, we're getting a whole bunch of different reports. I don't know when we're going to hear a report, but I think at least for the next 6 weeks, Rashee Rice is going to be gone. So we're going to hear trade rumors galore, and we're seeing it all over Twitter. Mm-hmm. You know, and the stories are crazy, but I think in the immediate, you have to bring Justin Ross up from the practice squad. It makes too much sense unless they sign our good friend Byron Pringle, but he hasn't been signed yet. And they signed Kareem Hunt pretty quick when Pacheco went down. So as of Tuesday, Byron Pringle hasn't been signed. So I think the logical choice would be to bring Justin Ross off the practice squad. He fits the mold of what the receiver Rashee Rice is. Granted, he's taller and he's got more ability to go up and get the ball. He's got a longer wingspan. He can back shoulder catch the football. So I think you have to bring Justin Ross off the practice squad immediately for next Monday, because even if they made trade for Amari Cooper right now, he's got to learn the offense. He's got to do this, that, and the other. And obviously, there's no official word of Amari Cooper, but I'm just saying, if they trade for somebody that doesn't know the system, it's going to take them time to learn.
Yeah, no question about it. And it's a situation that someone, one of the G-Pick, I think, mentioned, no need to be desperate. Well, desperate times sometimes call for desperate measures when you are, you put it up right here. When you start the season with your two top receivers being Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown, and your running back one is Isaiah Pacheco, and you have none of those. You have a player that was cut by the terrible Browns and said, nope, we don't need you. You have a player that was cut by the terrible Broncos. They tried to trade him, and this is Samaje Perine, and nobody wanted to bite on that. And so the Chiefs get him off the scrap heap. and you've got two players drafted in the second round that can't get on the field in Sky Moore and McCole Hardman, despite these vicious and crippling injuries. My question is, oh, Noah, you didn't have to do that. We tried to tell you back in 2019, back in 2022, that the Chiefs whiffed in a major way. The reason we're in this mess that we're in today is because of 2019 and because of 2022. You see the numbers right there. DK Metcalf, George Pickens, 24 catches for DK. He was a beast last night as the Seahawks kind of went toe-to-toe with the Lions there in an offensive battle. They lost. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens, a team that is anemic at times offensively, despite Justin Fields having a better start to the season than we maybe anticipated. They're 3-1. It hurts. It hurts to see this. McCole and Sky have yet to register a stat. I know McCole has returned a couple of punts. There's a reason that we're in the damn shape it's in. This company is in the damn shape it's in because of BS like that. That was a little over hyperbolic, but yeah, I wish we had those two players instead of what we have.
Well, when you look at it, I want to say this. I thank everybody for enjoying our show. I do get people to say, man, I love your show. You guys got great dialogue, but you slam Sky Moore too much.
Oh, good God.
To those people, please turn down your volume for about the next 20 seconds.
Click the X mark on top of your screen and don't come back.
Sky Moore, I'm sorry, folks. He has no business being on this team. I've been watching football exclusively of the Kansas City Chiefs since 1977. Does that make me a better fan than anybody else? No. I have never seen a player be so worthless. Just a guy out there doing nothing. And he's been in like 60 snaps and he's been throwing the ball to once. And I want to say what Harold Kuntz said on Fox 4 on Sunday. Harold Kuntz said, he was up in the media, and he said Brett Veach was up there with him. He said when Sky Moore dropped that pass on third down, which forced the Chiefs to punt, he kicked the desk. He kicked it. He was just like, because he dropped the ball. So I'm not the only one mad at Sky Moore right now. Brett Veach ain't too happy either. But until he is cut, we are going to have to freaking hope that Andy Reid does the right thing and makes him or cuts him. Nobody's going to be freaking reaching deep to sign Sky Moore. Nope. 31 other teams are sitting there going, man, I sure hope the Chiefs release Sky Moore so we can get him. Sky Moore, when Sky Moore gets cut, because he's going to get cut, he's not going to get picked up by anybody. You know why? Because he's just not good at football.
Which is too bad from a former second-round pick that could have been George Pickens, Noah.
Yeah, and we've got Nicholas here, and this probably is a tad fair, but Sky Moore deserves the hate you guys give on this show. Now it's McCole Hardman who doesn't deserve the hate, especially to the extent that Noah likes to give. And I do like to take things to the ultimate and be a little hyperbolic, but I think I'm pretty fair with McCole. Maybe I take it a little too far sometimes, but I mean, he just hasn't done enough here. He's a second-round pick. I mean, and going back to Sky Moore, Clint said something to me today. People were saying that Sky Moore was going to get 1,000 yards last season. And Clint's like, is he going to have 1,000 yards in his entire career when it's all said and done? I don't think so.
He has about 500 now, or maybe not quite 500.
A little under 5, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's sad that we're in a situation this dire that we need somebody to step up, and we know he's not going to do it. So we're in a situation where, okay, we really need 2 receivers. We got to get rid of Sky Moore so we can have really 3 receivers, because McColl's going to have to be the guy to step up over Sky Moore. I know we're talking rock bottom now, but since we are here, we got to work with this talent that we do have. And McCole Hardman has to be on the field a lot more than Sky Moore, just because he has caught, I don't know, 8 or 9 more footballs in him and in clutch situations.
Yeah, he's a much better football player than Sky Moore. I'll give him that. That's a very, 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 very low bar to clear, but McCole has cleared it, and he has shown well in spots. Shane, you talked about some of the rumors. I'm just going to roll through these quick. Raiders star Devontae Adams has informed the team that he is preferred to be traded. I'm sure pretty much almost every single Raider has said that at one point or another in the past, I don't know, 20, 30 years.
Sorry, DT.
And, yeah. But we're also Teddy Bruschi wants the Chiefs to go after DeAndre Hopkins there.
Weird.
And Clint and I with DeAndre Hopkins there in Miami at an SFC Sportfish Championship event. And then Pro Football Talk wants the Chiefs to maybe go back after Tyreek Hill. Things aren't going well for the Dolphins. Maybe they can give him a shot. And then the one that makes the most financial sense is Amari Cooper, as the Browns have already kind of moved some money around. So he's only around $650,000 to $1 million. There's some speculation on what the exact number is of what he would be, and that's what the Chiefs can afford, since the Chiefs only have about $5 million in cap money. So for some of these other more expensive players, a Devontae, a DeAndre, a Tyreek, they'd have to move some money around, restructure probably Jawan Taylor's contract, and do some other things. But here's a list of free agent wide receivers trade options. Not a lot of hot names. We went over the hot names that could be traded for. You mentioned Byron Pringle, who's on the street. Hunter Renfro's on the street, which I find a little surprising. He was good for the Raiders at one point. Michael Thomas, we know our good friend Demarcus Robinson's there with the Rams that we could trade for, but I don't know. The Chiefs, they might try to keep it in-house, which scares me and makes me very, very sad.
But we say the idiom all the time, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Well, that doesn't apply here. I think that I want to see some guys that we haven't seen fail out there as much. I'm tired of seeing Sky and McCole and people making excuses. And this, Sky Moore's breakout year is going to be, how was he supposed to do it? You've got you got Mahomes, you've got Travis Kelce, you've got, Rashee Rice out there playing well. How's he supposed to get any targets? And now we still can't get these guys going. And so, yeah, somebody else mentioned it. Do you try to get a Justin Ross, a Nico Remigio going? That's fine. Those are real world options. And it is. But Lance Twidwell, who's not joining us today due to internet issues, has been adamant and pounding the floor about making an impact here. My question is, I guess the broad topic here is to complete this three-peat. We try to poke holes in it. That's what we've been trying to do this whole time since last offseason. Why would this not happen? The Chiefs are the first team to start 4-0 after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So they're in it. How can it go awry, you ask? The big picture question is, does the team that exists right here today, with the possibility of getting Hollywood Brown back and Isaiah Pacheco as the year goes on, can this outfit, the way it's structured currently, three-peat? Can it do it without bringing Amari Cooper in?
I think it depends on the Rashee Rice injury. When we finally learn the full extent of that, if he's out 6 to 8 weeks, maybe they can just put some duct tape over it, which is Justin Ross, Nico Remigio, and get out there and figure out ways to win like they've been doing, and just kind of win this with smoke and mirrors, with trying to scheme some things for Xavier Worthy, overusing Travis Kelce. Kareem Hunt's found a little something in the run game. CEH is coming back. He can give you a little something here and there, and in the pass game out of the backfield as well. So maybe they can figure things out until Rashee Rice comes back if it's 6 to 8 weeks. If Rashee Rice is gone for the whole season, then no, they're going to have to go get an Amari Cooper if they want a three-peat. So, and I don't know what that's going to cost for going to get him. We talk about the money, but what picks are you going to have to give up? Clint and I like to say, whatever the Chiefs have, nobody else wants. They give us cheese sandwiches in a trade, and whatever the Chiefs want, we have to give up first round picks, second and third and fourth, and our firstborn child. And just, oh, darn, I wanted that firstborn child, but no, it goes to the Raiders. Damn it.
Yeah. You want to get rid of Marcus Peters? Well, what the Chiefs get back for Marcus? Was it a fourth? L'Jarius Sneed, same thing. Alex Smith, the top rated passer in 2017. Like, hey, this might be some return. And you didn't get much for it.
Fuller and a pickle. Like,
exactly.
Is it a dill pickle at least?
That, and the Chiefs are the biggest target in the National Football League. Nobody wants to do business with the Chiefs. Nobody wants to assist the Chiefs into this three-peat. So that's another obstacle you've got to clear.
I think since on that point, Clint, I think if the Chiefs are going to pick up a receiver, it will be a free agent like a Michael Thomas, because to both your points, whoever's going to want to trade with the Chiefs is going to want a high draft pick for, would Brett Veach give up a second round pick for Amari Cooper? I don't think he would. And would he? And I don't think, and obviously I know it's fun to talk about Tyreek Hill coming back. And I know
it is. Fun. And I like fun.
And I know it's fun to think the Raiders would be so dumb to trade Devontae Adams in the division to the Chiefs. I don't think either is going to happen. It is fun to talk about, but I think if they're going to get a free agent, it only makes sense to get Michael Thomas and have him learn the offense and hope he stays healthy, or pick up Byron Pringle and have him learn the offense, I mean, he already knows the offense pretty much. So I think they're going to look for a situation to where they can have somebody can come right in and play. But into the immediate, we got one game before this bye. I think it has to be Nico Remigio or Justin Ross off the practice squad right now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you're probably right. And we also need to look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers, because no matter who's out there, this is his worst start through 4 games, at least stats wise. I mean, we're 4-0, so can't complain too much, but we've talked about some of the errant throws, the mistakes. Last week, we showed film of him dragging his back foot and throwing a ball into the dirt to Rasheed when he was wide open. So and Patrick Mahomes has mentioned it in post-game press conference. He's got to go back to the fundamentals. He's got to fix some things. Things are just off. And so he's got to figure this out. We got to figure it out fast. Now he's got to figure it out with the more guys that he doesn't trust. And I think it was Matt Lane from KCSN on Twitter. I don't have the tweet, but he had some speculation, a theory, a hot take out there talking about how maybe last year kind of broke Mahomes in a way to where he didn't have any fun, didn't trust his receivers, didn't trust his tackles, and that's just carried over into this season where he doesn't trust his receivers completely, doesn't trust his tackles, and so just everything's out of whack. He's not trusting what he's seeing. He's not trusting anything out there on the football field, and the Chiefs need to supply him with weapons. They tried to this year, but they got injured, and so they just need to find some more stability on offense for Mahomes to trust it and feel more comfortable.
We also need to see the era of the narrative that Mahomes could make any receiver better. Right now, that has not been the case. That was not the case with last year's group of receivers. It has been, I'd say mutually beneficial. Obviously, the Rasheed Rice thing, maybe Xavier Worthy. It's a good thing you drafted a receiver and a potentially explosive one in the first round, because Xavier Worthy is going to have a lot on his shoulders, and I kind of feel for the young man. But Mahomes, it's time to start talking about it.
Right. When we had Rob Likens on here, I said, hey, Rob, let's say tomorrow you're the new wide receivers coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think about all these small receivers? Rasheed Rice is the biggest wide receiver on this roster. Now he's gone. So if Mahomes is going to be back in the pocket, we saw it. We were all in group text during Sunday. Patrick Mahomes would be in the pocket. He'd go, and then he'd try to run and then either throw it away. And I can't remember if it was Noah or Clint's reply was, well, maybe none of these receivers can find separation. Well, Rob Likens replied to me when I asked him about these small receivers. He said, you have to freaking be able to hit them in the hands. You got to be able to throw it to these guys, because when you have those smaller receivers, you have to be able to put the ball where they can catch it. So that was his response to, was if he can be the wide receivers coach. So is Mahomes having trouble finding these small receivers who can't get open? I think in the long run, specifically to that, Juju Smith-Schuster is now our biggest wide receiver. Juju has to be the Juju of 2022. For the Chiefs to succeed, Juju has to be the Juju from 2 years ago. People have said, he's not going to be that guy. He's not going to be that guy. Well, with Rasheed Rice out, Juju has got to be the receiver he was in 2022.
I just wonder if his body can be the same as it was in 2022. How many times can Humpty Dumpty fall off the wall, be put back together again, and be the same Humpty Dumpty? He's had a lot of injuries, a knee and a shoulder. I know he had a knee at the end of his Chiefs tenure when he left and joined the Patriots that people were concerned about. And then he had a shoulder with the Patriots. And man, I don't know how much he has left in the tank to provide and be a stability in this offense for Patrick Mahomes to rely on. But luckily, we have a defense, and we shut down star running backs, or at least starting running backs, as I was told. I can't believe you put Zach Moss and J.K. Dobbins on this list, you idiot. They're not stars. I was like, well, I just said it's the 4 starting running backs the Chiefs have faced. I didn't say they were all the best. These are the 4 best running backs in the NFL. Chiefs don't get to choose which running backs they face. But these are the 4 that have started against the Chiefs, and they have shut them down completely. Derrick Henry, Zach Moss, Bijan Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, not one of them over 50 yards when Derrick Henry just ran for almost 200, I believe 199 against the Bills. So take that for what it is. Steve Spagnuolo was on a heater.
It's a defensive team. That's what this is. That's how it's going to be won and lost. And that's the cross we have to bear right now. And props to this defense. Not only this defensive line, which is slowing down these running backs that you just popped up there, and J.K. Dobbins at average, 5.4 yards a carry or more heading into that game. And we know Bijan Robinson is one of the emerging running backs in the NFL and in the dynamic offense that the Bengals have, and we know Derrick Henry and how dangerous he is, but I also want to give props to the young secondary, which continues to lock down, and the Chiefs didn't give up a single point for the last 48 minutes of game time against the LA Chargers. That is a sight to behold. That is something that we need to really be focusing on, is this defense and that secondary. It doesn't turn the ball over, but what it does do is Willie Roaf mentioned bend but don't break. I wouldn't even refer to it as a bend but don't break. It did at times, but this defense, it's weird to see those points per game, and the seventh ranked defense there at 18 points a game. And
to your point, the takeaways, Chiefs they're at a turnover differential -4 because the offense is giving it away a lot.
Well,
but
right.
They're also not taking it away enough. Only 1 interception, 2 fumble recoveries, as opposed to the Saints, 6 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries for that defense. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu seems like he's picking off the ball every week, although I don't think he played this past week. But
what's odd about the Chiefs defense is that the very first time they're going to go out on the field, they're going to give up a score. The opposition's going to go right down the field on the opening position and score, just like everyone has. Like they go right through. It's like we're nothing. So I even think if the Chiefs punt on their first possession and the Saints get it at their own 1, they're going to go down and score. And then the Chiefs defense will button up, because that's just the trend it's in. Exactly. I think Spagnuolo.
We're talking about that. I don't know if I think it might have been you, Shane. Clint and I were talking about this, that you brought up that Steve likes to just kind of see what they're doing, play kind of a vanilla style of defense that first series for the opposing team. And then he knows what they're doing and he brings out all his tricks for the and pretty much shuts them down.
Exactly. It's exactly what he's doing. And it's kind of funny now, because I told him, when you sit around and watch a game, I said, don't stress, honey. Because me and my wife were watching it. I said, the Chargers are going to go right down and score. And sure enough, they did. And then what happens the rest of the game? Lights out. The only reason they got that field goal to go up 10-0 was that because of the interception.
Right.
So basically the defense just freaking held them the rest of the game.
Right.
So major props to the defense.
It's not going to be a shootout. Those don't exist anymore. This isn't 2018 up in here, G-Pick.
John Harrison comes in. I've heard a lot of people say Mahomes hasn't played bad. It's not his fault at all. That's BS. He's made mistakes. He had Steele wide open on the sideline and a short arm to throw. Mahomes needs to improve too. He's not without blame. That's true. Fair. That's what we were talking about. He's definitely not the same Mahomes that we knew in 2018 of years past. And I miss that, and I hope we can get back to it someday. And Brett Veach, that's on you. Injury gods, that's on you as well. So those 2 factors are really killing this offense.
2 plays have caused all 7 turnover steals, 2 fumbles, and Mahomes 5 picks. Yes,
get them both off the field. Wentz and Kareem Hunt will lead us to the promised land.
I'm ready for some more Kareem. Is it prediction time up in here, Chiefs?
Let's do it.
First, prediction time. At least we're 4-0. We're not the Browns.
That's right.
Sam Darnold,
aka Dexter Morgan over there for the Minnesota Vikings, and an early MVP candidate when he's not putting people on his table. He is leading the Vikings to a 4-0 start. I feel like this is like deja vu to me. Didn't this happen 2 years ago with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings? And like they just they started like 9-0, and it was just the Vikings. Yes. Oh, this is it. And then you had Kirk Fuddy-Duddy Cousins riding in his SUV on the way home after a playoff loss, talking about, gee, golly shucks. It's too bad. It was the Giants. Thank you. Yes. And I'm not taking anything away from the Vikings. I really like the way they played in the first 4 weeks, but over in the NFC, hey, you shoot your shot. It can happen. We thought the same of the Saints through 2 weeks. They've come back to earth a little bit. So we'll see where that juju, that mojo, if you will, manifests here on Monday Night Football.
Well,
Shane, you want to start us off with these predictions? Let's
go
here, folks.
The Chiefs. It's the point of entry, Arrowhead Stadium. Clint says he's screaming for vengeance. He's running late for Judas Priest. So we got to wrap this up because he's got a hell of a concert to see here in about 15 minutes. Race a mill for me tonight, brother. All right. This Monday night at Arrowhead Stadium, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to show that he's the 2022 Juju. He's going to say, hey, I got this. I got this like I got TikTok. He's going to produce, and he's going to have 7 catches for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. And your Kansas City Chiefs are going to come out victorious 27-20. Kareem Hunt will have 16 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown as well. Take it to the bank, baby.
I absolutely love it, Shane. And we've got, we might have a rematch of Super Bowl IV, just kind of being a prognosticator all the way out, Chiefs Vikings, because I got my pal Bones here in our Twitter feed. We are live, or no, not Twitter. It starts with a T. Twitter's not even T anymore. TikTok. We've got my pal Bones saying Sammy D is unstoppable. Fields and Sammy D, best quarterbacks in the league. He might have gone a step too far there with Justin Fields. But getting to this Monday night game against the Saints, I'm looking at this thing, and 27, that's just too much for me, Shane. I can't do it. I've got this one 20-16. This defense is for real. The Chiefs flex their muscle. They shut down Alvin Kamara. Derek Carr's come back to earth. He's turned back into a pumpkin. They can't throw as well as they would like to against this stellar defense. The Willie Roaf was on here talking about the banged up Saints offensive line, how Chris Jones is going to eat. Hopefully George Karlaftis can get going. We've missed him. He's been a little MIA as far as the sack game. I know he's produced, shutting things down. He's done other things. There's more than just getting sacks, but I've got this 20. Your Chiefs squeak out another victory.
My score every week, regardless of opponent, regardless of situation or personnel, is Chiefs 24-21. I'm going to go with that again here against the New Orleans Saints. I like the way that the Saints started the season. I like what Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, at SFC The Catch 2024, told us if this game was in December, he was sick and he's out. He's not playing, but it's in October, first weekend of October. So Alvin Kamara is going to decide to play here this Monday night. Breaking news here from all of us here at Starcade Media. Kamara's in. You love Rashid Shaheed. You love Chris Olave. But Derek Carr, guys, one win since 2014 at Arrowhead Stadium. Not going to get it done here unless he gets one of those, roughing the passer calls on Chris Jones that they like to call once a year. During a strip sack, I might add. It could happen. Chiefs 24-21. 5-0, as X Factor would say. But I'm not breaking the law. I'm just a Judas Priest fan, and I'm heading out, you guys.
That's it. We've got a guy on his way to go see Judas Priest. That's it for us. We're just at the end of time. Go, Chiefs!